Battle control initialized.
Hey people, 5 Aces here. What's going on, everybody? I just returned from my holidays in Sicily. It's been a good time, it's been a great time, but now it's time to fire up the OpenRA Forge again and get some casts done. That's exactly what we're doing right now. That's what we like to see here on the channel. And this might already be considered one of the preliminary rounds of the Red Alert Global League in some way. Now, this is not in any way an official match, but let me elaborate. This spawning in the bottom right as Russia is 0.1. And recently there's been some turmoil over the Red Alert Global League. What basically happened is that SoScared decided to take it a step back because he was having so many projects at the same time. He was basically the head balancing officer for Red Alert. He was doing the Red Alert Global League, managing all the registrations, managing all the matches and stuff like that, and managing the delays. That was an insane workload, and also producing videos both for Twitch and for me. He's still going to do the video part, but he decided to step back from the Red Alert Global League for now, and understandably so. It's just been an insane workload. So kudos to him for sustaining this for 2 years. And some others have taken up the banner in his place. One of them being 0.1, who we're observing here. He's a long-standing community member and a good player, and the only reason why we haven't casted him on the channel is because he doesn't tend to post many replays. And this being a notable exception. And his opponent is SirCakealot, who recently got promoted to Masters Division. Congratulations and welcome. He's going to be one of my 11 opponents in Season 4. So, yeah, basically, while the early game is happening, we're just talking about Red Alert Global League. And bottom line, 0.1, Blackened, and Jazz are now the head officials, and SoScared has officially pulled out of Global League. He is, keep in mind, the one who is actually came up with the idea, who persevered with doing this for the first 3 seasons. Oh, the engineer just standing there, lucky to not take a rifle salvo to the face. Alright, enough chit-chat about the league. Let's focus our attention and eyes at the game at hand. We've got a beautiful wall off for SirCakealot, you know, in the early game, just to wall yourself in when the Grenadiers are coming. Unfortunately not happening, not in the cards, but what I'm seeing here is a mobile flag out of 0.1 and a double barracks already. We've seen this for, wow, triple barracks off of 1 harvester. We've seen this this build from Juicebox, and it has sort of worked, but I'm still curious as to the whereabouts. Alright, he's SirCakealot trying to be cute and get a snipe, but 0.1 is completely on the safe side. He's even letting his flak truck finish the job. There's going to be a second rifle infantry, but it doesn't find an angle on the engineer here. You can't shoot from over this cell, you can only shoot from this cell on the right hand side, and on the top side you can shoot from this cell here. So it's very specific as to where you can harass the engineers for your opponent. Both up to 4 harvesters. That scaled very quickly, by the way. Keep in mind, 0.1 has invested into early double barracks. Oh no, the engineer being tackled by mobile flak truck here. Very good pickoff for SirCakealot. That's gonna make 0.1 feel a bit uneasy about losing an early engineer. Yo, let's talk about the scaling here. So he was 0.1 was on 1 ore truck, 1 refinery. He rushed a war factory, double barracks, and he went for an early flak truck before a second harvester. So I'm kind of surprised how fast this has gone up to 5 harvesters now. Anyway, we're having the first MCV already out for SirCakealot. That's a 4-minute MCV, relatively early. I mean, we're 4 minutes deep, it's not that unusual, it's just that the game was so quiet and I had to talk so much about Global League that it kind of went by unnoticed. So what we've got here is that the mobile flag is trying to poke away at the mobile construction yard. Is he gonna find the block? The deployment is blocked for now. Alright, he finds the angle immediately. So, lucky break for SirCakealot. Immediate deploy animation goes off, and thus, there goes the flak truck. So a nice early win for SirCakealot. 2 nice early wins, actually. And already some veterancy on the flak truck. This can be so detrimental when you've got an infantry blob that is just slowly being chewed away at by a mobile flag, especially as Soviets, because you tend to not have medics as Soviets. Alright, that's a ballsy engineer. The ninja-neer here, trying to get cute, but I'd wager it's just gonna get sniffed out. Yep. Good night, sweet prince. We salute ya. And that's the construction vehicle for point 1. That's a bit delayed. It's a minute later than SirCakealot. And it's taken the absolutely safest way possible. Trying not to go for any risks whatsoever here. Yeah, and here we've got a flak truck. Can poke away at the infantry blob for days. And the bulk of the army for point 1 is out of position anyway, so this army is most likely forfeit unless SirCakealot forgets about it, but he's not. He's screening with his flak truck. He's screening with those 2 riflemen, provide him some line of sight, and here comes the brunt of the army. He's got his tanks in the front. Yep, there he goes. The tanks are just gonna soak up all the fire, and he's gonna take this engagement with probably no losses whatsoever. Let's do the math here. Yep, everything perishes under the fire of the rifles, and the tanks doing a good job at tanking. Sorry, been a bit at a loss of words here, and minimal damage being taken by the 2nd heavy tank here. Beautiful, beautiful play, but we've got an actual expansion out for point 1, so he's ahead on the Eco 8 ball. So let's see, he's going to deploy an MC right in the face of a heavy tank, in the face of adversity. Alright, this is gonna be tricky. This is gonna be really tricky, but he's got lots of rockets also. They're all moving forward. They should stay behind the Conyard. Now he's not got the firepower anymore to take out the heavy tanks. And this is gonna be a complete wipe. Here's his Tesla coil. Getting a nice zap off. Should get rid of the meat shield. Oh no, he pops the barracks, and the barracks is costing me too much. He doesn't have his radar dome shut down. This is a very, very unlucky timing for point 1, or just a lack of foresight for point 1, who is now losing his MCV as well to the flak truck, which is closing the gap. Nice flank with the flak truck. It's on veterancy 1, but it might as well be veterancy 5, because it has already killed an MCV. It has killed off an entire infantry army. Alright, now it doesn't even get sacrificed. That's some nice unit control. That's when you know someone is playing for realsies. That's Master's Division skill level here. Just pulling out your units, not moving them all, not moving them in a blob. And instead just exerting perfect control. Also, we've got a Yak here. But all he's scouting here is a lot of infantry, so he doesn't want to dive into this. Unless he wants to go for a crush, but the angle is bad. Nah. 4 out of 10. There's a V2, however, and the V2 is enough to deter the push for now, I'd say. V2 nicely pulling back. Point 1 also showing some nice restraint in moving his units around. A scatter command comes out from SirCakealot. It's not going to change the tide of battle here. Alright. Not a real comeback, though. Point 1 still being under a lot of fire and a lot of pressure. He's opted for mass V2 spam, but there are Yaks already, so this is very dangerous. As soon as the Yak count reaches 2, which it should in like 15 or something seconds, then SirCakealot can easily pick off 2 Yaks and with a strafe and go home to rearm. And that's such a cost-efficient way of dealing with V2 spam. Alright, he's opted for early radar dome, and the problem here is that SirCakealot has actually less lifetime earnings, I'd wager. Let's check this. Slightly less so far. The assets are still fairly even, although there's like a 5k discrepancy, and he's opted for an early tech center. I've not seen Mammoths this early in a game for a while. This is the 9-minute mark Mammoth tank. Good shit, I'm loving what I'm seeing here. Okay, try to go for the snipe on the V2. That's why you need 2 V2 rockets, 2 Yaks to kill a V2 rocket. Because one just takes 2.5 strafes and it takes forever. And we've got a MiG! This is the first time I've seen a MiG being rushed out this early. Holy shit! Alright, the MiG can inflict some serious damage here, because all those ore patches are completely unprotected. And that's an easy snack food for the MiG. You see how much damage one pass has already done. One pass from the MiG has left the Harvester at like 10 HP. It's now slowly going to regenerate, but not fast enough to not get picked off with the second strafe. There's the MiG. Good shit. Good shit. The V2's being a bit out of position here. So what's the follow-up? Oh, that's some nice micro though. Point 1 repairing his ore trucks. Taking care of your econ is a Very important part of OpenRA. So there's gonna be a flag truck preemptively placed. Should get the snipe. Doesn't commit to it for now. And this Mammoth tank was completely worthless. The infantry density is just too much. Oh, the MiG goes down as well. Trying to provide some line of sight, but instead just ends up in rocket range. Jeez, what's up with my words today? Been so used to speaking Italian for the last 2 weeks that I'm... Actually, my English has deteriorated, it seems. Anyway. We've got another MiG. Should make a run for it and hightail it out of there. Yeah, I love when V2s kill lone infantry. Okay, and this is gonna be posing a problem. Nice snipe though. Gonna be posing a problem for SirCakealot because he can't deploy in the middle. This is being camped by .1, who has gotten a... Oh, nice snipe. That's exactly the target he wanted. And the mobile flag is up to Veteran C2, which means that it's already gonna be super annoying at poking away at the MiG. Okay, now decides to go in. He could actually opt for camping here in the middle. I think that would be the better course of action for .1 because it doesn't have the firepower to kill all of this base. There is reinforcement radius from the construction yard here. Double MiGs. That's the third MiG actually because one got taken out. Is he gonna take down the Conyard? No, there's an immediate deploy command from .1. Still though, he's gonna take this fairly low. Whoosh, whoosh. Alright, that's some good damage being put onto the Conyard. Ooh. MiG surviving by the skin of its teeth. And here we've got a small dispatch. But there's too much infantry for .1. I don't see SirCakealot taking this engagement here. By the way, the MiGs are now super vulnerable to his snipe. Oh, he's going in. Anyway, he's picked the wrong target, the wrong timing here. So that's move command for .1 and all of his units are being slaughtered. I don't know why he went for the move command. That was not a fire or attack move command. It was pretty bad conduct. And the Mammoth tank is going to chase, going to tusk away at the infantry of .1. Actually, Mammoths are a very solid counter to mass infantry if you just got the micro, if you know when to turn them. Because they've got an atrociously long turn rate. The slowest turn rate in the game. Oh, parabombs coming in. Catching the entire army out of position and doing massive damage to the construction yard. This has not been played on the playtest, so no hit shape changes yet. A beautiful snipe onto the Conyard and onto the Tesla coil as well. Those MiGs have paid off. They have paid dividends here. And .1's base push that was already at the verge of breaking into the doorstep of SirCakealot's MiG fortress here has been stopped just in the nick of time. Oh, that's a bad make though. Still got a lot of value from the crashes, but hey, that's not how you use MiGs. Probably a rally point. There is a Yak. Should not try and engage the Mammoths. Mammoths are kiting back, but the entire meat shield is gone. So I think the Mammoths are forfeit. Is there an Iron Curtain? No. No Iron Curtain being currently produced. Oh wow, that was some good hits though. Alright, those Mammoth tanks. Oh, debatable whether or not they've paid off. Their wreckage is just burning out here. Also, Mammoth tanks, like, if their turret is ever out of position, they're super vulnerable to hijackers, because they're one of the only land vehicles that is not fast enough to get out of a hijacker attempt. Alright, so SirCakealot desperately needs more power. The struggle for power is on. It's floating a decent amount. But he's not having... He doesn't have his production relegated to the front lines. Now finally has. Okay, there should be a flame tower popping soon. Another one. And this is the vibe of the army of .1. Finally pushing back a bit. So right now I'm seeing SirCakealot is slightly ahead yet. 10k. It's actually a fairly big margin. Tech center for .1. He's trying to get out probably an Iron Curtain, maybe Mammoth tanks himself. No, Sharks! We're seeing the Sharks here. Yeah, boys. Sharks are back. And that's an Iron Curtain formation. Without an Iron Curtain. Alright. So that settles that. Shock is just not cutting the mustard versus these, like, masses of rifles. Rifles, in case you're not aware, are fairly good counters to tier 3 to shock troopers. The reason... Oh! Mammoths on the flank. Just tusk missiling everything into a fine red paste here. Yeah. Even the civilians not being spared. The good old Soviet way. Yeah. So what I really love about this game is that the tier 3 units are not an auto win. Tier 3 units have a very specific purpose. And all of them need to be built deliberately if you know what you're doing. Like, you can't just spam longbows and win. Tier 3, if it's just massed and not supported properly, it just straight up loses to tier 0 to infantry and the such. So that's what I really like about the balancing concept of OpenRA. If you're going for tech units, you need to really know what you're doing with them. So we're seeing the shocks here, and what they need to do is stand behind the meat shields, stand behind the harvesters, stand behind flame towers, stand behind ore refineries. Because otherwise this happens. Otherwise they're just going to be targeted away at by the Mammoth tanks. And beautiful micro coming out of SirCakealot here, individually focusing each of those mammoths, each of those shockies. Look at this. Mammoth tanks being caught off guard though. The reinforcements being cut off. But a very cost-efficient push so far for SirCakealot. And the shock troopers from point 1 have just not had the impact. Because he has used too many move commands. Now 4 versus 3, the Mammoths should actually win. Depends on the focus fire here. Should focus the wounded ones. Could burst them down easily, yeah? Okay. And point 1 deciding to just back away. Probably the smartest choice here. Do we have an Iron Curtain up? Not currently for SirCakealot, who's also lost all of his airfields, by the way, so there's not going to be a paradrop or parabombs anytime soon here. So actually that's point 1 with the airfield tech advantage, even if it's just by 1 airfield. Look at the force fire micro here, individually targeting all the shock troopers. Very beautiful. He's trading them away. I would have liked him to see them escape north. That way they would have had more impact, could have come back. But hey, he decides to trade them off for a couple more shockies, and keep in mind, those are not cheap. That's 400 a pop. And just not a very big army for point 1 left standing. He doesn't have the econ right now. He needs to transfer some of his harvesters over here. He's got an Iron Curtain though. So he's got that going for him. Also the obvious paradrop advantage, which is now manifesting itself in the paradrop being deployed here. And picking off the harvester, yep. Thank you, sir. Good night. And Texer still standing though, so he can back tech. He didn't lose the radar dome. Oh no, there's the airfield. Finally he's teched up to airfield again. Very important asset to have when you have 2 MiGs on the field. And a Tesla coil being deployed in one of the most annoying and obnoxious positions here. The only way to really counter this would be to just deploy your conduit over here after you've popped the refineries. We've got a Mammoth and rocket push on the right-hand flank. And on the left-hand flank we've got the Tesla push. So point 1 is just unsure as to where to react, how to react to this. He just doesn't have the forces right now. He's losing his refinery again. And nothing that is... Oh, here's the Iron Curtain. Beautiful curtain. That's going to have a lot of impact here. Fucks with the targeting so much. Very good, very good. Even the scatter command comes out in order to not lose any more units. And right now, this is looking as though point 1 would stabilize. Is stabilizing here. On the left-hand side, he still has to deal with a lot of infantry, and the Iron Curtain is definitely on cooldown now. Has it been scouted? It hasn't. All right, so there needs to be another flame tower popping. Ooh, not a smart call. The MCV is escaping by the skin of its teeth, but it's gonna get picked off by the MiGs probably. We're gonna find out. The MiGs are targeting the harvesters for now. Haven't found a snipe yet. Both the harvesters and the... Oh! Ho, ho! If he undeploys now, he's a god. Point 1. If you manage to make a Conyard survive, you're a god. A golden god. Right-hand side, we've got the counter push. But 4 Mammoths. That's just straight up Mammoth spam. Holy shit. Point 1 has managed to hold his Conyard there. But it's not looking good for him. A 5th Mammoth tank come out of the factory. And the forward factory means that he's got such short routes to with his reinforcements. This is just not looking good for Point 1 at this stage of the game. He's up against 2 War Factory Mammoth spam. He's up against 4 MiGs. He's up against someone who is eco'd up fully, with him only having access to like 1, 2, 3 ore patches over 5. Yeah, even though the shock spam is coming out, this harvester is gonna get pulled. This harvester is definitely gonna get pulled. Alright, there are 4 rocket soldiers. One of the MiGs goes down. He's targeting the tech center, but the Iron Curtain is still standing. 2 MiGs go down. Jeez, that's a massacre here. And Point 1 is prompted to pull the trigger here. He is going in. The Iron Curtain harvester soaking up all the Tesla shots. Very well done. Alright, that's been a very cheap and efficient way of clearing this. And the harvester just returns to its job. It's got the day job of a harvester, but it's got the it's got the side job of a superhero. His odd job is tanking Tesla coiled fire while being invincible. That sounds pretty awesome. Where can I sign up? And here we've got the 4 remaining Mammoths pushing into the main base, and the GG being called. Point 1 knew he couldn't stop this. Awesome game here. That's one of the games where we've seen Mammoths, and like Mammoths, I think I see them once every like 20 games or something like that. Something ridiculous. Great game by both. SirCakealot is, by the way, something I haven't talked about. He has utilized the ammo pool share trick, where a weapon platform or a unit has 2 different armaments, and if it has 2 different armaments, you can switch back and forth between them by rapidly switching targets with your mouse. So let's say I've got this Mammoth tank selected. It's my Mammoth tank, and there is an infantry standing, and here is a building standing. Like, it would use the Tusk missiles versus infantry, and then it would use the main gun versus the building. So what I do is I right-click onto the infantry, make it fire the Tusk missiles, and as soon as the animation goes off, I immediately click the building so it double taps. So it basically has double the damage output versus or double the mixed damage output. The same works for longbows, which can fire their anti-ground and anti-air missiles at the same time, so you can get out a salvo of 6 rockets instead of 4 or 2. The same works for, let me see, it works for missile subs, because they've got anti-air missiles as well. It does work for, let me see, what else has different armaments? Is there any other unit? So let me just double check that real quick. Nothing out of the Soviet side. I think that's it. I think that's it mostly. Anyway, it's a really super useful trick if you want to max... Oh, it works for rocket soldiers. That's the most important one, because what you can do if you have your rocket soldiers trained onto firing onto a building or something, and there's an aircraft passing overhead, you immediately press the stop button, and what this does is the target priority on aircraft is higher for rocket soldiers than on buildings. So if you press the stop button, they're immediately gonna auto-target and auto-acquire the passing aircraft, and immediately gonna shoot this down. So this is the most notable and most useful way of abusing this ammo pool bug. I don't know if it's a bug or feature. Anyway, it's cool because it adds more micro and subtle nuance to using units. Fantastic game for both. I'll be back with my regular schedule, and I'll also have a probably next week I'll have a So Scared memorial stream, because he doesn't do the Monday streams currently. It's a bit too, just a bit too hectic right now, and I'm hoping to get him online anyway. But I'm gonna stream on my channel on Monday, because there is a distinct lack of streams right now. Anyway, that's it for now. See you next time. 5 Aces out.
Battle control terminated.